Today we're going to continue working with the quadratic formula. Only thing is now we're going to have some problems that are not in standard form. It just requires you to put the problem in standard form before identifying your A, B, and C. So let's get started. So let's look at number 1. So we have x squared plus 12x equals negative 36. Again, this is not in standard form. Always check, is that a 0? In this case it's not, so I need to modify the equation and put everything on the left side, 0 on the right side. In order to move the 36, I need to add 36 to both sides. Again, 36 doesn't combine with either x squared or 12x. So I'm just going to put it here in the middle, but make sure not to add it or subtract it with any of the terms. So standard form, x squared goes first, the x squared goes second, and the constant single number goes at the end. 36 and negative 36 gives me 0. Now I just move on from there and do the same thing we did yesterday. That's the only new step. A is an invisible 1, B is 12, and C is 36. And we're just going to go ahead and work on the discriminant first. Again, this is a discriminant. That's just the name of it. And we're going to go ahead and plug in our values for A, B, and C in the formula b squared minus 4ac. So b squared is 12 squared. And then we have A is 1, so we're going to plug in next to the 4A. And then C goes last, which is 36. Let's go ahead and evaluate this. So we're going to start by 12 times 12 is 144 inside our square root. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 36 is also 144. My sign is negative because there's only one negative here. So when I subtract the 144s, I get 0, and the square root of 0 is just a 0. All right, go ahead and move on to the actual formula now. We've taken care of the discriminant, which is that piece right there. We're just going to take it and plug it into the equations, the formula itself. I know this is going to be a 0. I know this part is the opposite of b, or negative b. So I'm going to substitute a negative parentheses, and I'm going to put b in there. My b is 12, so I'm going to substitute a 12 in this spot. And for the last part, it's division by 2a. My a value is a 1, so I'm going to substitute a 1 in the denominator. That was not what I wanted. Let's put a 1 down there. All right. And then at this point, we just simplify as much as possible until we're done. Clean it all up. So negative times 12, or just one negative, it stays negative 12, plus or minus 0, all over 2. I can divide this by 2. 2 goes into negative 12, negative 6 times, plus or minus 2 goes into 0, 0 times. And we end up getting our two answers. X is equal to negative 6 plus 0 is negative 6. Negative 6 minus 0 is also negative 6. So technically we only really have one solution here. So it's a double solution of the same one. So we just say x is equal to negative 6 as our final answer. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next one. And start off again with the same thing. Always check, is your equation in standard form? In this case, again, it's not in standard form. So I make sure to note that. Sorry about that. So I'm going to move that 2 to the other side. It's a constant term, so it's going to combine with my constant term. And I put it in standard form, make sure it's in the correct order. 0's on the right, so now I'm good to go. I can identify A, B, and C. 4, negative 1, negative 3. Go to the discriminant. Plug in b squared minus 4 times a times c. So my values are b squared is negative 1. 4 times a is 4. Times c is negative 3. So I go ahead and start evaluating this. We're going to get negative 1 squared is positive 1. Inside the square root, 4 times 4 is 16. 16 times 3 is 48. And I have a negative times another negative, which makes it a positive. I add, I get 49. This right here is a perfect square, so I put 7. Do not put square root of 7. It's just a simple 7. Perfect square. All right, then I move on to the quadratic formula itself. So again, x is equal to negative of b plus or minus the square root all over 2 times a. So again, I've already done the square root part. This is a 7 here. I'm going to go ahead and plug in my negative of b. My b value is negative 1. And my a value is negative 3. Sorry, it's having a little difficulty writing here. Alright, so I've set it up. Now I'm going to clean it up as much as possible to get my final solutions. So I have x equals this double negative here becomes a positive 1 plus or minus 7 all over 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. Now in this case, since my square root is gone, I can actually go ahead and finish this problem off. So I'm going to go ahead and simplify this all the way. So I'm going to have positive 1 plus 7 all over negative 6. I'm going to evaluate that. And I'm going to also evaluate my second answer, which is 1 minus 7 all over negative 6 as well. Alright, so 1 plus 7 in the first one, we're going to get 8 over negative 6. On the second one, we're going to get negative 6 over negative 6. And I'm going to simplify those answers to the following. And actually, I'll just put it here on the side. I can divide these by 2, so it's 4/3, and it's negative. That's one answer. And 6 divided by 6 is positive 1. That's my second answer. So 4/3 negative and positive 1 are my 2 solutions to this quadratic. All right, go ahead and start your practice. When you're done with the practice, you should start on your performance test. Good luck.